Thanks for downloading a 3CR podcast. 3CR is an independent community radio station based in Melbourne, Australia. We need your financial support to keep going. Go to www.3cr.org.au for more information and to donate online. Now stay tuned for your 3CR podcast.
We're putting up new buildings, we're knocking down the old. We're working in the summer heat and in the winter cold. And the labour power we sell, me boys, for a hard-earned weekly pay produces mighty profits for the greedy MBA. And whether we were born here or born in Italy, in Greece, in Spain or Ireland, in England or Fiji, we all of us are workers, united we must stand, until the wealthy bludgers have been driven from our land. We faced deregistration, it backfired in the face. We're not fooled by arbitration, we won't stay in our place. We hit the bosses hard and fast to win and keep our gains, and break a couple of concrete pours to back our log of claims. So keep your powder dry and hold your head up high. It's class to class and face to face, our limit is the sky. We've got a fighting history and we never will be cowed. Our builders' labour is a name to make a man feel proud.
And it's good morning from the Concrete Gang, as bright-eyed and bushy-tailed as we can be in some sad circumstances. Good morning, Campo.
Good morning, Warren. Good to have you back. I see we've pushed the griller out and we've dusted off the old brigade.
As you should. But just talking about the old brigade, we're sad to announce the passing of one of the stalwarts of not only the Union but also the Concrete Gang, Bob Mancor. Bob has passed away after a long struggle with illness, and to all his family, to Audrey, Jack, Joe, Hannah, and all their grandkids and all the friends and colleagues of Bob, our condolences and sympathy on this sad day. And on a positive note, in these worst of circumstances, you just heard the Concrete Gang song, the Builders' Labourers song, which was sung by Tommy Reid and backed by Audrey and Bob Mancor all those years ago. And it's terrific that Bob, even though he's now left us, is still going to be part of the Concrete Gang for as long as this show goes to air. So a little bit of history, of course. The Concrete Gang started back in 1976, and it was a show that was thrown together by a couple of stalwarts, Ian Bolton and Phil Court, and a lot of people then got involved, like Paul Thomasaroff and Bob Mancor, or Willie as he was known on air. And Bob had a terrific love of not only the union and the industry but also music, and music about social justice was one of his absolute passions. And people back then used to do it a lot rougher than they're doing it these days, in terms of not only the industry but also the broadcasting. In those days it was a cassette recorder, a few bottles of beer, and hopefully something went to air. At the end of this show, I'm not sure that the technology is quite conquered by yours truly and our various colleagues. But
I reckon we might be better off going back.
We'd better go back to tape. But anyway, we've got a few tributes to play, and first, of course, is from Ian Bolton, who was one of the original presenters of the program and known to one and all as Mario.
My name's Ian Bolton. I knew Bob Mancor for many, many years. Bob was a genuine article, always consistent in his thoughts and ideas. Bob hated racism of any kind and was a great fighter for his fellow workers and all working class people. He was a leader of men and respected by all that knew him. He was one of the mainstays of the Builders Labourers radio programme, The Concrete Gang, and he was also respected by many of the bosses in the building industry because he never misused his position as a union delegate while still fighting to improve safety and conditions for his fellow workers. He was a big, strong man with a gentle and intelligent nature. He loved music and often sang along with his guitar on the Builders Labourers radio programme, The Concrete Gang. He made a big positive impact on many people's lives. He will be sadly missed by all those who knew him, and condolences to all his family. Ian Bolt.
Yes, Bolt was one of the originals, and as he said, Bob, performed on the Concrete Gang and performed many songs, some of his own songs, around all sorts of fundraisers and picket lines and so on, and he will be sadly missed for that activist role. But also, Bob was a great supporter of community radio 3CR, and when we did the 40-year anniversary show down at the Palace Hotel, what did Bob do? I'll tell you what he did. He plugged raising money for 3CR and Campo. You're going to follow the tradition.
Yeah,
son.
mate. Obviously, through COVID, we had a day planned for the Concrete Gang pull-up, which we've been doing. We had the radiothon, and we still need to raise more. Like we said, we haven't had to do for a couple of years, so we want to raise as much as we can. So we've changed the day. It's going to be on Monday, the 23rd of August, down at the Rising Sun Hotel in number 2, Rathdown Street, South Melbourne. So obviously we've got
Rathdown Street, Raglan Street.
Raglan Street. Sorry, mate. And obviously we've got live bands. Great day to get there. We're targeting the show to the senior members of our community. So that's the Grillers put a big poster together. So see your shop steward. Get into the office and buy a ticket because they're going quick. You can win $5,000 travel voucher, $500 liquor voucher as well, food, everything. It's going to be a great day. And obviously Jimmy Hocking's playing there as well, like before. So I'll get there, be there, and get your dancing shoes on.
And we'll raise some serious money for 3CR, and thank you to everyone who's put into 3CR already through the radiothon. We've done very well with that, but there's 2 years' money to make up, so folks, dig in deep. Now we're going to cut to a track, and this is one of Bob's favourites. This is Billy Bragg, Which Side Are You On?
This government had an idea and Parliament made it law. Seems like it's illegal to fight for the union anymore. And which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? We set off to join the picket lines, but together we cannot fail. We got stopped by police at the county line. They said, go home, boys, or you'll go into jail. And which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Well, it's hard to explain to a crying child why her daddy won't go back. So the family suffer, but it hurts me more to hear a scab say, sod you, Jack. Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Well, I'm bound to follow my conscience, and I'll do whatever I can. And it'll take much more than a union law to knock the fight out of a working man. And which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on?
What a great song that. I love it.
Billy Bragg, indeed. Now, another tribute, this time from our good friend, Billy Price, who is on the line now. Good morning, Billy.
Morning. I first met Bob up at Narrow Creek Folk Festival. He was working on the underground at the time, and I was working on a shit job out in the suburbs, and the first thing he did was offer to give me a better job, which is just describes his life as forever helping people and giving them a chop out and putting his hand in his pocket. And, you know, it was even a camper up at the folk festival needed a new tent, and he sort of made sure she got one. Great. It's a great man. He helped so many people. What can I say?
And your love of music was something that you shared right through to Bob's passing.
That's right, and the campsite up at Narrell was called the BLF camp, and there'd be 100 people sitting around a big fire singing and drinking and smoking and whatever. Just the big bobs, and the Eureka flag was flying, and it was come one year, and it was great to see them all there. And Bob just taught me so much. Musically, I mean, principles. He was a principled man, and he showed me the way in a lot of aspects, I reckon. Yeah.
So how long do you reckon you knew Bob for, Billy, all up?
Close to 45 years.
Yeah.
You know, our families, we've been through lots of highs and lows, and we're sort of part of the family. Bob sang at my wife's funeral. One of the favourite Mancor songs.
Yes, well, we're going to finish off today with one of the songs recorded by Jack, who has followed in his father's footsteps. But, Billy, thank you very much for your tribute, and I'm sure that we will all be seeing each other next week. The funeral is going to be up at Newstead, which is past Castlemaine, and Thursday, 1:30 at the Newstead Community Centre. Now, there's going to be some problems, of course, with the COVID rules and all the rest of it, but arrangements are being made so that all the venues as part of that community centre are all going to be hooked up with PAs and so on. So if you're going up there, get up there early, get yourself a park, get yourself a seat, and Billy, we'll see you up there, brother.
See you, Billy, mate.
All the best.
Thank you. Right, so the funeral is definitely next Thursday. Notices have gone into the paper on Friday, and Newstead Community Centre, 1:30 next Thursday. Now, we've also got another tribute, this time from someone who had a long relationship with Bob industrially, and that's Brendan Murphy.
Good morning, listeners of the Concrete Gang. My name's Brendan Murphy, and I've been an organiser down in Geelong and the Western District for about 20-odd years, and I met Bob probably 35 years ago. I've been honoured to be asked to reminisce about Bob and my connections with him, and always found him just a great social justice type person, a true socialist, and had some incredible experiences with him in different struggles in the Geelong area, and I think he's left us with some great memories. It was real sadness that I heard that he passed, especially not being given the opportunity to document his time in the industry and some of his experiences. I know that was on the cards, but circumstances haven't allowed it. He would involve himself in any sort of struggle, and he did on numerous occasions. I can remember not only our battles, but battles of the nurses, cleaners, anybody, kids that were having medical problems, all sorts of things, and he was a great inspiration, and I could always bounce stuff off him. He was a shop steward of great talent, and he lived by the theory that you should be out where the hammers whack, not sitting in a comfortable little office collecting data. I remember when he was the shop steward out at the one of the new prisons for John Hollands out at Lara, and he got himself a push bike because the site was a huge site, and he used to like getting around, and I know for a fact that the troops really appreciated his hands-on approach. I'm currently living in an area where a couple of his members, or our members, retired members, I get together with quite regularly. The Walsh brothers, Nick and Paddy, would reminisce about some of his some of their times with him, and it's been great over the last few days just reminiscing with them. Bob was a well-travelled man, and a pretty good musician, and I just hope we get the chance to hear some of his songs. I don't know whether they were his songs, but he sings a ripper about a scaffolder, and I'm sure somebody will be able to chase that up for the show. It is one thing that the legacy Bob's left, both Bob and Audrey, is some really well brought up children. Well, they're not children now, but Jack and Joe, I've had the pleasure of working with and having things to do with, and they're great social justice type people too. I didn't get to spend much time with his daughter, but Jack threw his hat in the ring when we were having a bit of a struggle down in Forest, and offered his services for nothing as a bit of a fundraiser, and it just shows you. And Joe's always spoken up, which that was a trait I'm sure comes from both Bob and Audrey. He wasn't one if there was an injustice going on or somebody was getting touched up by a boss. You could see Bob coming out, and it's it's been an honour to
give me a signal.
Be asked to speak on Bob's behalf. I would have loved it if he could have done it himself. But I'm sure wherever he is looking down on us, you'll be making sure that everybody up there's paid up and proud. And I'm not in a hurry to get there to see him, but when I do, it'll be good to catch up.
There you go, Brendan Murphy paying tribute to Bob and also Audrey, as should always be the case. And we've got some other people, excuse me, who have got some social justice issues in hand, and we're having a bit of a fundraiser, Campo.
Yeah, obviously, we're putting the hat around it. It's what we do best, and it's better for you to put your hand in the pocket for someone else than someone putting their hand in the pocket for you. So we've got a pull-up going on for Wayne Baker, the Baker family. They tragically lost their young 8-year-old son in tragic circumstances. So there's a pull-up going around at the moment. So see your shop steward. You can come into the office. There's a fundraiser going at the moment. So we're going to do what we do best for the Baker family. So, and obviously, whereas I was at a meeting this week and, just hearing everyone in the room, it was speaking so highly of Bob. He was much beloved, and you can hear the way Brendan and everyone spoke about him. The secretary, everyone in the meeting knew Bob. The legend of our union, they couldn't speak highly more of Bob. And I had the pleasure of meeting Bob a couple of times, and he was a champion bloke. So, what more can you say? So
now, we should also mention that this week is a tribute show to Bob Mancor. So we're not going to be able to do the usual coverage of NAIDOC Week, which is something which is part of the Concrete Gang tradition. But next week there will be a show.
Yeah, the Curry boys are coming in and they're going to put a show together to celebrate the Indigenous members that we have. So,
and now we're going to bring online a old comrade of the Concrete Gang, the one and only Buzzer, to give us a few memories of Bob.
Are you there?
Yeah, we're here, brother.
Are you there, radio?
The question is, are you there?
I'm here, and it's great to be back on, but not under these circumstances, because we're here today to talk about the great man himself, Bob Mancor, and Bob, who come from South Africa, and that real strong apartheid system over there, and he really shaped his values when he come here. And to Audrey, Jack, Joe, and Hannah out there, they're real suffering at the moment, because Bob was a true socialist, loved by all, loved by everybody in the community, the trade union movement, even the music industry, would you say? The music industry.
Yes.
He had a colourful character. He supported his great mate Harold and Cumo's foundation over many years. Trades with Labor councils, everything. He was in everywhere, and he was a true believer, Bob. And he was pretty quick to put you in your box if you said the wrong thing and you weren't straight down the line with stuff. So, like I said, but
that might be a segue to a little story about Bob and his dealings with his superannuation.
Yeah, well, Bob was one of those blokes that he was great sometimes at realising where there was a problem, and probably not the greatest at fixing it, but he'd get you involved and he'd write stuff down and give you a list of jobs to do, and but his heart was as big as Farlap's. And one day there he rang Cbus, and the gentleman answered the phone from Cbus, if I call him a gentleman, and said, "G'day, sir, how can I help you?" Well, Bob wasn't happy with the sir bit. He said, "Sorry, mate, my name's Bob." And the bloke said, "Sir, how can I help you?" And he said, "I'll tell you again, my name isn't Sir, it's Bob." And the bloke said one more time, "Sir." And in the end, they had a bit of an argument, and this CBus administrator reported Bob to an independent body for having a go at him. Anyway, it didn't go anywhere, but it was typical of Bob in his way that he dealt with things. There was no way known Bob was going to be called Sir, was there?
No, that's exactly right.
He wouldn't have been a strong supporter of the monarchy, I'd imagine, right?
Yes, I think Bob was a true Republican, working class, and a trade unionist. You can't get a better trio than that.
And his music, I was lucky enough there with Harold. We went to his 50th one when he was living out at Lethbridge, and what a great night it was. The music, just his personality, and he loved playing the Concrete Gang song, didn't he?
He did indeed, because he's on it, and and you should be proud of the good things you do.
Yes, and like I said, he was loved by everyone down there, and everyone's still mourning down here, and especially his friends, the ex-CFMMEU organiser down in the area, Brendan Murphy. He's suffering a bit, and he was very close to Bob and Brendan Pitt and everybody, and Tim Gooden and the whole community down here. Because, like I said, Bob was loved by everybody, and he just his values and the way that he lived in a real true socialist sort of life.
Righto, Buzzer, thank you very much for your tribute, and we'll see you at the funeral next week.
No worries. All the best, boys.
See you, Buzzer.
Cheers.
Righto, now the Concrete Gang, even on a tribute show, wouldn't be the Concrete Gang without scallywags, and
there's been a few.
There have been a few, and one of them is an old adversary of mine, Ace.
Ace Civil. Yeah, Ace Civil. They've been...
Ace Contractors, Ace Gardening. They've got a few different names, and they don't like paying everyone under the EBA.
And I don't think they've got any aces up their sleeve, because they don't seem real good. So the boys are been going to a job at the moment down at Childers Road, Mill Park. So the issues on the job, obviously they've had WorkSafe down there, and WorkSafe said they were all great. Well, we found a few issues that WorkSafe somehow didn't pick up. I don't know how, but obviously Ace reckon they don't need lighting because they're not tier 1. So I never read any OH&S standard that said you don't need lighting for your job because you're a tier 1 builder. Well, 5 minutes. So yeah, obviously Ace, there's issues there with fall from heights, electrical issues. There's stuff that's never been tested on the job. The job's a bit of a disgrace, and like I said, WorkSafe went there and gave it the tick off. And then this week we've also had our good friends from CoBuild. CoBuild, 2.5 metre fall from heights to access the crane for the crane driver to get up there. So their answer was to try and stand over the official, and let's say they're less than pleased because that didn't really go down real good for them. And with that, and we've also got Macquarie Precast. We've raised a few issues with Macquarie Precast again this week. They'll caught sending out green panels and falsifying documents to say they poured them in birth certificates as the usual. So there's your free.
Who are we going with?
Oh, I think because you're so passionate about Ace, I think...
Ace have a long history and not a lot of things that could be improved. They are scallywags.
Scallywags?
Righto, the winners are our good friends from Ace Contractors, Gardening, Civil, whatever they're calling themselves this week.
Whatever they've reborn themselves as. And a part of this actually falls into Suki Suki Lala because the official who went down there, young Jimmy, got bogged, and he was a bit upset because he just cleaned his car and it got covered in mud. So he was waiting out the front of the job and got bogged. So he reckons Ace booby-trapped it, but I've seen the footage. He wasn't happy.
I think you just won it, Jimmy.
I think you just won it being the only runner. It was a pretty sure bet, so...
Righto. Well, we're going to sign off now, as we always do, but just a little word or two about Bob before we go. Bob was a great man. There was no doubt about it at all, and he and Cummo and so many blokes held the line over so many years, and we should never forget it. Bob and I did have a few disagreements, and they were all about music.
I've heard your taste. I'd concur to that.
Yeah, anyway, Bob said the same. So let's go out the same old way. Dare to struggle, dare to win. If you don't fight, you lose. Good morning from the Concrete Gang. I'm going to go out with a song which has been recorded by Bob's son, Spanner in the Works.
And if you listen to the lyrics, you can really get a feed of what Bob's about.
Gather round, people, I got something to say. Some folks might think it's just another cliche, but well, there's blood on our hands, we got blood in the streets. We gotta get together, start singing for peace. I know sometimes that it might hurt. We gotta take a stand, throw a spanner in the works, throw a spanner in the works. Throw a spanner in the works, my friends. Well, I've seen it all so many times before. The rich man, he comes knocking at your door. Fooled you into thinking you could own a house. Now he's telling your family that they gotta move out. You're paying last week's bills with next week's wages. Don't be waiting around for no prophets or saviors, cause the church owns most the land in this world. But there's still plenty of homeless boys and girls. Well, I know. So on and friends. But the wind still blows and the creeks ebb and flow till the end. And where we're headed, well, ain't nobody knows, my friends. But the tides will wash in and they'll wash it all away again. We ain't come too far from the days of the cave. Now we're all just walking, talking, multinational slaves. And they charge us too much, they pay us not enough. It's getting to where it's going and the going will be tough. And they smash the unions and the public schools. This country's run by bigots and bludgers and fools. The squeeze on the poor's getting tighter. One man's terrorist is another's freedom fighter, I know. Well, I know sometimes it might seem hard, but if we don't learn from history, well, we won't get far. You gotta stand up to your devil, look him in the eye, say, come on, man, well, I'll see you outside. You're hurting all of the ones I love, so I'm gonna start to push when it comes to the shove. I know sometimes that it might hurt. We gotta take a stand, throw a spanner in the works, throw a spanner in the works. Throw a spanner in the works, my friends. But I know sometimes that it might hurt. We gotta take a stand, throw a spanner in the works, throw a spanner in the works. Throw a spanner in the works, my friend. Throw a spanner in the works. Throw a spanner in the works, my friend.
You've been listening to a 3CR podcast produced in the studios of independent community radio station 3CR in Melbourne, Australia. For more information, go to allthews.3cr.org.au.